Hey guys, welcome to Taking the Cut. I'm Dr. T, an orthopedic hand surgeon who is just starting a private practice after leaving a stable, salaried job. My goal with this podcast is to talk about surgery, business, entrepreneurship, and my journey from a stable employed job to starting in a brand new private practice. Today's episode, I wanted to talk about my five biggest fears starting in this new private practice. My hope is that we ultimately end up being very successful and I can reflect back on this and kind of see how everything actually turned out. But our practice is about to open up, in about a week. These are just some of the big things that have been weighing on my mind. We will be open by the time this comes out, and hopefully I'll be able to reflect back and see that all of these weren't really warranted. Probably my first fear is, will anyone show up? Right now with my job, I'm in a big healthcare system where referrals come in, and I got pretty busy pretty quick, and I didn't have to worry about going out there and putting my name out there. And I think I've done a pretty good job, and I have some happy patients. And I think I've really made an impact on some people's lives, but I'm just worried that once we open, no one will come in. We don't have a healthcare system backing us. It's just myself and my senior hand partner. He's been around a little bit longer than me, so hopefully he gets some referrals. But we're really out there on our own. We're in a big metro area, so there's a lot of competition. We definitely have been doing a lot of marketing, and I'll make an episode talking about that a little bit more. But we'll see. That's a big fear. If no one's showing up, the business won't work. But luckily, with hand surgery, people do injure their hands all the time. So hopefully, we could drum up some business. My second fear is just kind of the administrative aspect. Um, we go through school, and basically from college on, I've just been focused on science and medicine. But now, we'll take on a little bit more of a role of being a business person, and having employees, and dealing with all that other stuff, and just simple stuff from, you know, like what chairs do we need, which my senior partner's taking the lead on that. He has a little bit more experience, but just crazy things you don't even think about um, when you're a surgeon or a physician. They don't teach you what's a good insurance or how do you treat your employees, so that they stay, not necessarily how you treat your employees, but how to deal with conflict in work, and all these other HR things that kind of get taken care of you from an administrative perspective. And we'll see how that goes. It'll definitely be a learning experience, and hopefully uh, I'm able to kind of take on some of those extra roles, and it's no big deal. But we'll see what ends up happening. My third fear is just kind of related to the first one with no patients, but just isolation. Um, it is just me and my senior hand partner. And hand is good. It's very specific and subspecialized. And I think we can really run ideas off of each other and help each other out. But I plan to take general orthopedic call like I'm doing now. Right now, I'm in a big group. And if something really difficult comes in, or something that would be better suited by someone who does those types of things all the time, like pelvic injuries or someone who needs a total hip arthroplasty, I have this big group to fall back on. But starting next week, it's just me and my partner. And this one's probably not as big of a fear because I'm still very close with the people I was in practice with, and we all take call at the same hospital. And I think we'll still be able to help each other out. It will be a little different because we're all kind of going our own ways, but everyone in my old job is just great, and it really was like a big family. And I don't necessarily see us leaving each other stranded, because I can help them out with some hand stuff and they can help me out with some more complex lower extremity trauma. But we'll see. There's a real chance that, yeah, you get told you're on your own and you have to figure it out. Kind of the fourth fear, uh, and this is more for me than the practice, is just judgment about the practice and the community. Uh, almost everyone told me this is a crazy idea and this will never work and we won't be busy. And then to get our practice going, we had to do a lot of stuff, like I said earlier, that they don't teach you in med school. I went door to door, talking to different doctors. I really tried to put my name out there. I feel like I'm marketing myself, which sometimes feels weird as a physician because you just want to be out there, someone that the community can count on for help. And people come to you because you do a good job and you really help them. But being so new, I have to try to get my name out there, and it feels like this weird business aspect. And I don't want to come off the wrong way to people who are really good at doing this. But to me, I feel like a kind of like a sleazy salesman. And that's not a knock on salespeople or anything. It's just a really weird situation to be in. When you're a physician and you're told, all throughout school, you have to help the patient and this is kind of a selfless job, and you have this great privilege to be able to help people and that's all you should care about. And now I have to think about marketing myself, which is crazy. And I'm worried, both with this podcast and I'll probably put it up on YouTube and just knocking door to door. It feels, you worry that you'll get judged a little bit. But I think it has to be done. Then the last fear, and probably the biggest fear that I assume everyone has going into this, is just the money aspect. Um, you know, it sounds crazy coming from a doctor that you're worried about money, and I'm very grateful for the position I'm in. But starting this practice, there's costs, and there's no guaranteed income. And my family is in a situation where we're very blessed. We're about to have another child, but that's a big event in life, and I have no source of stable income. And my wife has been very supportive through all of this, but I always, in the back of my head, I just think, what if we don't get busy? What if I can't afford our house anymore? What if I can't afford healthcare for my kids? That's always in the back of my mind. And I'm interested to see how long that goes on for. I hope that gets squashed quickly, but that is just one thing that even from the beginning has kind of given me pause to doing this whole thing. But like I said in the previous episode, I have talked to someone who's also in private practice in the same area, and I listened to this guy, Dr. Brad, Investing Doc podcast, and he's ultra positive about it. And I'm ready to just put the work in and work really hard and get some cash flow going so that I can calm this fear. But it's a big fear, and it's not necessarily for myself. It's really more for my family. You don't want to be the doctor who can't provide for their family or puts their family in this jeopardizing situation because you think that you potentially have a good idea. But those are my big fears, and hopefully, you guys kind of enjoyed this episode, and it's something that resonates with people. If you have any similar fears, or you went through something similar, I would love to hear from you. I have to figure out a good email to set up, but I think you can make comments, or I'm not entirely sure, but I would love to hear other people's experiences, and hopefully I can get some other people on the podcasts as this goes on. But hope you guys have a great day, and look out for some future episodes, and we'll see where this journey takes us.